Audio will start in 3, 2, 1.
Welcome to episode 74, the Degenerates Clubhouse, take 2.
Take 2.5.
We had a false start, failure to launch, if you will. I think the last time we were talking about whether or not we'd ever get a theme song, and then I believe you said you didn't like the Peacemaker song per se, but you liked the dance, and you were talking about whether or not you would choreograph an intro dance for us, which...
So why I said I can choreograph it is because I have a cousin. Obviously, you know that the white culture, Sweet 16, Mexicans who do quinceañera. So I had a cousin that was turning 15, and it was myself, my brother, and her oldest brother were like the three chaperones, I guess is the English translation to chambelán. So anyway, the three of us were the chaperones, the male chaperones to my cousin turning 15. And so I took it upon myself for whatever fucking reason. I know why. Because she wanted us to wear zoot suits. You know what zoot suits are?
Mm-hmm.
So she wanted us to wear zoot suits to her quinceañera. And I thought, why don't we do a zoot suit, choreographed zoot suit song? And so yeah, we researched moves and what I'm not a fucking dancer at all. But I choreographed a quinceañera, and dude, if I remember correctly, we kept it a secret. So my cousin, my brother, and I, we were doing this choreography in secret, practicing. No one knew about it. Well, kind of people sort of knew about it. The day of the quinceañera, we performed it, and people were like everyone went wild. It was awesome. So yeah, I can definitely choreograph something for if we ever do an intro music video. Oh yeah, the restream chat does work. Sweet. My mom said hi, guys. Anyway, yeah. So if we ever do an intro song, I can come up with choreography to it, and you and I can.
Okay, we got that to look forward to, everybody.
Although I think your movement's a little bit more limited than mine, but I still won't do any handstands or anything.
I don't know between the two of us, which one of us can touch our toes?
I can touch my toes.
Can you?
Yeah.
Prove it right now. This is perfect for audio. He's reaching. Oh, he did. Look at that.
Come on, dude. I know I'm fat, but I'm still somewhat flexible. Anyway.
But not Joe Rogan flexible, eh?
No, fuck no. Joe Rogan could suck his own dick.
Allegedly.
No, I think he could.
You know what? See, here's the thing. If he was on his podcast and they said prove it, he wouldn't do it because he's a coward.
Cowards.
Mondo did it. I said prove it, and boom, he just touched his toes right there. But Joe Rogan would be too afraid.
Supposedly, well, anyway.
Would that be a deal breaker with you and Joe Rogan?
Like being able to suck my own dick?
I don't know. I was trying to gracefully transition into deal breakers, but it didn't really work.
Failure.
So let's just get into deal breakers.
Sure. You guys remember the segment Dealbreakers where Aaron and I ask each other questions and then we yes or no, yay or nay. You want to go first or should I go first?
Sure, I'll go first.
Go ahead.
This one's a 3-parter though.
All right.
So it's in 3 segments. Would it be a deal breaker if she was Asian?
No.
Okay, good. That wasn't you were not supposed to. If you're like, yeah, of course, that would have been bad.
No, I was trying to think of where the catch was.
Here's the second part of the deal breaker. Would it be a deal breaker? So she's Asian and she makes like way more money than you. Like she's making like a few million a year, and she wants you to come live in her house.
Not a deal breaker.
Okay, I was hoping that wouldn't be either. Here's the third part. Would it be a deal breaker if she's Asian, she's really rich, but she wants to have a traditional home where it's generational, so like her parents and her grandparents are living in the home with you?
No, that wouldn't. You know, dude, that's very similar to like older traditional Hispanic cultures. Like sometimes we take care of our old loved ones and they live with us, and it's like fucking family of 75. That's what they make fun of us, is we'll have multiple households living in one house. So no, it's not a deal breaker.
I didn't think it would be for you. That's not as common, but I actually feel like that's happening a lot more, like just in typical American culture, though.
Because it's fucking getting expensive to have your own place, and so people are being forced to like live with other family members just to survive. It sucks. But
do you think there are benefits that people who have not grown up in households like that wouldn't think of?
Benefits
to having like a multi-generational home?
No, I think no.
No, it just fucking sucks.
It just fucking sucks. I mean,
There's got to be a reason the
okay,
Japanese do it.
I can say, like, for example, I can only speak for Latin or my family. It's like if you have your parents living with you, and let's say you knock up a gal, you have kids. Sometimes your parents are, if you're living in the house with your parents, and they don't have jobs or they're not like employed full time, they can babysit the baby while you're off to work. So that's one of the benefits, quote unquote benefits, to like having multiple, people living in the same house.
You've got a multi-generational home. You don't need to use protection. That was my takeaway from what you just said.
No, I'm saying if you have a baby, you have
right.
like a built-in babysitter.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. So you don't need condoms.
I guess. Yeah.
It made sense to me.
All right.
What's your question?
You just kind of like go, and that was all. That was all the first deal breaker for you.
Yeah, it was a 3-part question.
Oh yeah, no, that's all. I'm all. The only one that's actually the kind of hesitation is like when a woman makes a ton of more money than I do, and it's more of, I find it more often than not when a woman has more income than her partner, like there's like this additional pressure from the woman, like, hey motherfucker, step it up, like you need to start making more money than me, or like it's hard for a woman to.
Well, see, that's okay. That's why I said she made like several million, because I could see if it's you're making 50 and she's making 70, and it's still, you're still worried about finances, you're still worrying about paying bills, like, you've got a big house, whatever. But I feel like at that point there's a certain, I can't remember what the level is, but there's a certain point where it's like all your expenses are met, like money's just not really as much of an issue anymore, unless you get into the trappings of being super rich and you want cars and this and that and everything else.
I don't know. There's got to be something really wrong with a rich woman for her to be with like a bum, for the most bum. I mean bum. Like,
that's the part of the deal breaker. You're like, oh, she's doing so well and she wants to be with me. There's something wrong with her.
Yeah, for sure. Anyway, my deal breaker question number 1 for you is, she posts selfies of herself doing duck face or something similar about six times a day, like every day, daily. She does like those kind of woman poses, or like where she's like 100% like showing her ass, like turning to. Is that a deal breaker for you?
But like, is she otherwise intelligent? Is this an aberration, or is this reflective of a greater part of her personality?
It's definitely part of her personality, where she has to she feels obligated to do this multiple times a day on her social media.
Okay, so she wants validation for her physical appearance and some attention.
Yeah.
But like, is she like still like a smart person? Cause
sure.
I've never met someone who does those, but when I see those photos on Instagram, I'm like, there's probably not that much going on between the years.
You assume that they're the IQ level. I made a joke once, like 5-10 years ago, about how like there's got to be a correlation with the more selfies and the more duck face and the more blah 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 blah, the lower the IQ. I made some comment about that, and I'm sure women didn't like that.
Well, and that's you know what, I'm stereotyping these poor duck face women. So we're saying like just intelligent, and that's just what does it for her.
She has to do
awesome, amazing. You know
okay?
what? Because out of all the vices that people could have, that one is fairly harmless, right? Like, she's not cheating, she doesn't have a drug addiction, she's not like, in the scope of if that's just what kind of gets her off, she's kind of addicted to posting a bunch of selfies. You know what? Like, go for it. Whatever.
I'm not a fan. Anyway, you and I differ in that. Okay, go ahead. Your question. Question number 2 from Aaron.
Okay, you're on a first date.
Okay.
And you're like kind of right off the bat. So it's just to be clear, she's wearing like a sort of like tank top and like a skirt, and she says to you like, "Hey, I just want you to know I'm really sensitive about my prosthetic limb. So can we just not talk about it?" And you're looking at her and you can't
like take your eyes off it.
No, they all look just like normal arms and legs.
Oh, so she's got multiple prosthetics.
No. That's what I'm saying. She doesn't say what she just says. Don't talk about my prosthetic leg, or no, sorry, prosthetic limb. I'm really sensitive about it. But you look at her and you can't. All of her limbs look normal.
Got it.
You can't. They look like just 100% normal arms and legs. But she said, I don't want to talk about it.
Because it could be some like it could be a prosthetic like what else would it be if it's not her arm or the leg?
Well, no, she said a limb, so it's got to be an arm or a leg.
No, not a deal breaker at all. No, like no. I'm waiting for the catch. You have a smile on your face. I'm like, but she's got a dick. I'm like, prosthetic dick. No,
No, just a prosthetic dick.
You know.
You're not curious though? You're not like, wait, is she lying about having a prosthetic limb, or
No.
you just put the one into the back of your mind and proceed forward?
Even if she had a prosthetic anything, I think I'd be cool with it as long as she was cool. If it was a dick, forget about it. No, thank you. But I'm just saying, like, if she had a prosthetic foot, leg, arm, whatever, toe, I don't give a shit.
See, in this scenario, I would be more freaked out about like thinking she's lying about having a prosthetic limb when I can clearly see that there's no prosthetic limb.
Oh.
Like, what is happening? Is this some sort of weird game? Like, what is the thought process? Why would you lie about having a prosthetic limb?
Yeah, I don't know. So you're saying she clearly is lying she has a prosthetic limb.
That's what it looks like.
See, but without knowing, without asking the question and getting, she doesn't want to be asked the question. So without asking the question, I would just leave it be and be like, I don't see any prosthetics. Oh, well, we'll find out. I'll find out when I find out, or I'll find out she's a liar. Oh, well. My turn.
Okay.
She plays in a club Quidditch team.
Club Quidditch. That was so. The one school that we played when I was in college and we were playing lacrosse was where the fuck was it? Oh, it was in Vermont. It was Middlebury. That's such like a New England like rich prep school thing too.
Uh-huh.
They had like an organized Quidditch league in their school, and as far as I could tell, you just sort of run around straddling broomsticks and you're just throwing a ball around.
Yes.
That's about it.
Yeah.
But like she plays on that, like
yeah.
Cool.
So you're okay with it?
Yeah, why not?
I figured you'd be okay with it because you're a fan of Harry Potter and the book series and all that, and I thought you would lean more towards yes, whereas I would be like,
what? Why? Who gives a fuck if she has fun playing Quidditch? Like it's a dumb game, but
yeah, but
dude, I would go. So I would even go play with her if they asked.
I know you would. That's why I asked you the question because again, you would lean towards yes, whereas I'd be like, it's a fake thing. It's not a real sport.
But it's a game that they're playing and they're having fun. So like, all sports were fake sports until someone popularized them.
So would you like? It's like playing tag when you're 30s or our age. It's like kind of like
dude, you spent how much time playing a video game?
Oh yeah, no, don't get me wrong. But I'm just saying like in the world of Harry Potter, the Quidditch thing is like a fake imaginary thing, and then she plays in the team.
So if the question was like, do you think Quidditch is actually a great sport, absence of like magic in the Harry Potter realm? I'm like, no. I've watched on YouTube, I think like a clip of people playing like quote unquote Quidditch. It looks fucking dumb. Yeah. But who cares? Okay. That's what I'm saying. Like if someone's having fun and they're running around getting some exercise and like they've got their little Quidditch community, like more power to them.
What if she really thought she like was a wizard and carried around like a a magic wand, like made like a stick?
So you're saying
like that was part of the whole.
Let me rephrase the question. If she was schizophrenic, would that be a deal breaker? Yes. Okay. She has serious mental problems and cannot separate fantasy from reality. Yeah. Yes, that would be a problem.
Okay. All right. There you go. Your turn to ask a question.
Would it be a deal breaker if she slept with a CPAP?
No, because I think eventually, in my older ages, I'm probably gonna need one of those fucking. Because I know I snore. I used to have a girlfriend that would complain all the fucking time about me snoring. It's like, what do you want me to do? Like, there's nothing I do. I mean, I know there's surgeries you can have and all that, but like, who can fucking afford that shit? And I know they make like those mouth guards that like adjust your jaw so you don't, Mm-hmm. But I mean, eventually, in my fat old age, I might need one, and who cares if a woman needs it? It's whatever.
Do they make couple CPAPs where you could share one?
I don't think they do. You know what's funny is one of my current bosses and then one of my previous coworkers, they're both older guys. They have CPAPs, both of them, and both of them in the mornings, they have this mark on their face. I would always make fun of this guy with coworkers, like, oh, you got dick slap last night, because it leaves like a fucking brutal, like, on one side. It's like,
well, yeah, depending on what type of mask you got with it.
Yeah. No, I'd be cool with it.
What if she insisted? What if I don't know if there is a couple CPAP. What if there is one and she insisted you have to use it, even though you don't really think you need it right now?
I would use it. I would whatever.
Because she's like, you know what, like it's gonna make our breathing sync up when we're sleeping, and that'll bring us closer together.
Whatever. It's weird. It's goofy. It's dumb. But like I can sympathize. I can empathize with someone that needs a CPAP. So I'm like, whatever.
Couple CPAP, Mondo's on board. Quidditch, fuck no.
Hell no, because it's fake. Anyway, question number 3 for me. Pay close attention.
Uh-huh.
She's about 5 feet tall. Weighs about 180 pounds.
Deal breaker.
Hold on.
Deal breaker.
But she says she loves hiking,
Deal
biking.
breaker.
Yeah. So why I asked that question was because in the dating apps that I've been using, there are a pretty substantial percentage of these short, curvy girls that say, I love going on hikes, I love swimming, no, you don't.
That's not even it. Okay, so this is something I figured out quite a while ago, and this might sound dumb, but when I was younger, I didn't think I needed to be physically attracted to the girl for a relationship to work. Because this was my reasoning at the time. I'm like, oh, that's not the most important thing to me. Like, I rate other things higher than that. So, therefore, I don't really have to worry about that.
Yeah.
And then I was in a relationship where I wasn't that physically attracted to them. I'm like, oh, no, this doesn't work.
Yeah.
And
it's kind of hard. There's like a minimum threshold that, their physical requirements or vanity requirements. There's a minimum, and everyone's minimum is like their bar is different for everybody. But I think we all have like a minimum acceptable level of attractiveness to our partner, and as long as they meet that minimum, I think I'm okay.
Well, and for me, for the most part, like if they're like reasonably physically fit, that's about it. Like they don't have to be like model gorgeous in their face or it doesn't even have to be like some track athlete who's a gazelle. They just have to, it's like someone who's got like some athleticism to them. Like that's about it. That's sort of that baseline for me. So you're like 5 foot, and I'm like, okay, I usually am attracted to taller women, but you know what, like that, whatever, that's fine. And then you said 180, like nope.
Yeah.
you're 5 foot, 180. That's probably not going to work.
If she's 5 foot and 180, like be honest about like you love tacos. Like be real. Like don't fucking put down you love hiking, swimming, biking, all this shit. Like you don't. You may have done it like once a year, but just be real. Like I love tacos. I love being at home watching TV. Hey, so do I.
Well, and I wouldn't even question. I bet there are people who, and when they say they love hiking and this and that, like no, they're probably not out there doing marathons. But I bet there are a lot of people who just carry more weight and they still go out and do those. So I mean, I see some hefty gals on the trail sometimes.
I thought you were gonna say, look at you, Armando. You're not that. And I go on jogs and hikes here and there, but
no, I wasn't immediately going for a put down, but no, that was it. I was like, I do think, especially at the onset of a relationship, it probably being attracted to the person is a prerequisite, and 5 foot 180 just wouldn't do it for me.
All right, your turn. Your question number, whatever. I don't know what number we're at.
You're at a bar. That's your like, whatever, for a second date, and she manages to like knock over her drink, your drink. There's just a huge mess on the floor, which is kind of embarrassing. And then she's like, oh, I just want to leave. And when you get outside, you see that she's robbed the bar.
I was going to ask you, did she knock all the drinks over because she was drunk? So she knocked them all over as a distraction.
Yeah, it seemed like she was drunk. She seemed like she was really drunk. And then like you get out and she just is like stone cold sober. And she's got like a wad of 20s. You're like, where did that come from?
And this is our second date?
Sure.
And was I made privy to the fact before she did this little heist that she liked to do these kind of things?
No, this was a surprise.
It just caught me off guard. Surprise. Yeah, deal breaker for sure. Like,
all right, good.
Yeah.
I wanted to throw one because the other ones you're just like, no, not at all.
Because if she would have said like, hey, let's do something fun, let's do something fucking crazy, and like she like let me in on the thing beforehand, and then we pull it off.
Oh, so if you were an accomplice in the robbery, you're down for it.
If I'm fully aware of it before it happens, and it's like a game we're playing together, then like, oh fuck yeah, let's fucking rob this fucking bank together. Let's fucking Bonnie and Clyde this shit. I don't care. Or
Oh,
whatever.
you want to rob banks? This was just some dive bar.
Bars, banks, whatever. You get what I'm saying. No, I'm not a deal breaker for me. If I knew in advance, if I don't caught off guard, don't know about it, she does it. She's like, hey, this big old wad of 20s or 10s. I'm like, no, I'm not cool with that.
You know what's weird for me? I was just thinking about that. Robbing money, that would be a deal breaker. If she wanted to steal like an item from the bar that maybe wasn't that valuable per se, but it was like some like dumb wall ornament or something like that, that I'd be down for.
What about if she took like an entire bottle of booze from behind the bar, but you didn't know how she got it, but she got an entire bottle of booze from the bar?
I think I'd be all right with that.
Yeah, I was like, hey, yeah, let's go drink that together.
Well, because the one part, like, I don't think that's coming out of like the bartender, like the waist steps tips. I mean, yeah, it's a little bit of a hit for the bar, but I think that's something that they could absorb pretty easily.
Yeah.
But just like stealing a bunch of money, something like that just feels different to me.
It's because you're Jewish. I'm awful. I know it.
No, I was trying to think how that even made sense. Did you steal, or they don't like stealing? I'm trying to figure out where the racism cuts in that direction.
Because it had to do with money. Never mind. Horrible joke. Moving on. Question number 4 for me. She occasionally breaks out into speaking her own imaginary language.
Mondo, the deal breaker would be if she over-tipped. If she just bought the alcohol, but then she tipped them too much.
Okay, you're going back.
That would be the Jewish deal breaker.
Okay, got it.
It's like, what are you doing? What are you doing? You don't tip 30%.
Fine. My question. She occasionally breaks out into speaking her own imaginary made-up language. To you. Like,
okay, so is it learnable? Like, is she just making gibberish sounds, or she invented a phonetic language that actually works and could be taught?
let's just say she's making the language up as she goes, but there is like a rhyme and reason as to how the language, like, so that it's like if you ask her a question, how do you say table, and she doesn't have an answer on the spot, she just makes it up.
So she is making a language up.
She is making,
but like it's not. So this is what I'm asking. Is this the female J.R.R. Tolkien where she's like, I'm gonna invent Elvish?
No,
she's just saying gibberish.
She's mostly saying gibberish, and she's kind of winging it. Yeah.
So like I'm just asking, if I ask her, I'm like, hey, so just like where is this coming? Like why do you like doing this?
And she responds with
yeah, I think I probably would separate myself from this person. Like, there's something going on. I'm like, wow, that is a great answer. You clearly have some buried trauma, and it's coming up like this, but you don't want to express yourself in like human language. I'm gonna go see if I can find one of your kind that can communicate with you.
Right on. All right, your turn.
Oh, I think I only had.
Because I've done 4. Maybe you've already done 5? I haven't.
No, I think I've only done 4. You have a really great first date.
Okay. Like,
girl's super hot. She's European. Can't really place the accent. And you're really into her. And then she's just like, I would like to see you again, but I have to get married next week if we continue. You're like, what? And she's like, yes, I fled Ukraine.
No, so that, hold on.
I need...
well, first of all, question, specifically Ukraine?
Yeah, specifically, she is a Ukrainian refugee, and she wants the green card. Because you know what? It used to be a whole joke about like European women wanting American green cards, and now for the last while, they're like, no, we're good. We don't want to go to your shithole country. But now, yeah, this is specifically a Ukrainian refugee who is trying to get established in America, and she's like, yeah, we can break up. I just want to get married.
Yeah, I think I would lean towards, right now with what's going on, I think I would lean towards the empathy in me and be like, okay, I'm going to help this broad get her papers and get her over here safely. And then after a year or two, whatever the legal, because there's like a time period you have to be legally married for her to get her documentation. And once she got her documentation, I'd be like, hey, it's cool if you want to split up, but you ain't getting half a shit. Like, if that was cool, then I'd be okay with it.
You do the lowest stakes prenuptial agreement in the history of marriages.
Yes, I'd be like, hey, look, I'm not going to give you half, if you want to stay with me after those couple years, great. We can be a relationship and see what happens. But just it's like a pre-authorized contract. Like, okay, after the time was up, you can go your own way, but I ain't gonna give you shit of what I got. Like, I'm helping you out here.
And then after 2 years, you're still like really in love with her, and she's like, peace.
So let me tell you a story about that. I had a friend of mine when we were in high school. He's a year older than me, and when he was 17, he got himself emancipated. His biological parents had passed away. He was living with his aunt and uncle. Didn't get along with them really. Like, they were okay people, but they were also kind of weird. But he was like, fuck this, I'm getting myself emancipated. He had this money that he inherited from his parents' life insurance when they passed away. 17-year-old, 18-year-old kid. He and I worked together, like at a little part-time job, and then one of our other coworkers there was an undocumented female gal. She, I don't know if it was her or her parents, approached him. I'll leave his name out of it. Hey, will you marry her? We want to get her paperwork shit. And he came to me, a fucking 16-year-old kid, and 17. He's like, what do you think? Should I do it? And I'm like, that's not a question you asked the fucking dumb teenage high school. But I was like, fuck it, dude. I mean, if you're going to get money out of it, like, I think that was the arrangement. He was going to get some kind of money for doing it. But to make it legit, they had to live together in an apartment and all this stuff. So I have a friend that happened to him. He married this chick knowing, like, going into it, like, it's an arrangement. But when you live with someone for a while, you start developing feelings. They were fucking, they were boning, and he ended up getting a little bit of attached to her. So he did start, like, kind of falling for her. I don't know that the feelings were reciprocated, and fast forward, it went awry. So I've seen that happen firsthand. Not a good feeling when you're a dude, but the woman got her paperwork, and kind of sucks, but oh well, it happens. That's the way the world works.
Well, you know what? At least you could say you got married.
Yeah, I've been married once. Yeah, no, I don't know. It's kind of fucked up. When you fall in love with someone, it's kind of shitty. But anyway. My last question for you.
Mm-hmm.
She has a criminal record of her being the culprit in multiple domestic abuse charges.
She's the culprit?
Yes.
Yeah, it's a deal breaker.
Okay.
I mean,
yeah.
That
pretty
feels pretty cut and dry.
Yeah.
Like, what do you?
I don't.
What is the scenario where that's not a deal breaker? Where you're like, oh, I'm a masochist. I like it.
So I can see how, and this isn't make it right, but I can see how women have stayed with abusive men because maybe the man was a breadwinner or whatever, or they had kids together and the woman doesn't want to leave the guy because it's like, oh, for the kids. Flip the script when it's like a man being with like a woman that's fucking him up. It's like, goddamn, either you're a cuck or you like, I don't know, like it's just like, see you later.
Well, no, it's that whole thing is like, I mean, I'm trying to think exactly how it went. There's a Bill Burr bit where he's like, yeah, there's that thing about you, like, oh, you can never, there's no reason to hit a woman. That's what it was. He's like, there's no reason to hit a woman. He's like, what are you talking? I could give you 10 right now.
Yeah.
Like, he's like, you shouldn't, just don't do it. But to say there's not a reason, and that's sort of the thing is like in that like female abusive dynamic where it's like, yeah, like the guy probably in most of those situations could physically retaliate and win out, but like you're just not gonna hit her even though she's hitting you. And I think a lot of guys too are like, oh, I can't talk about I'm getting beat up by my girl. So it's like there's that like macho thing, but like that works both ways where you don't want to talk about it, but you also can't retaliate because then you're hitting your spouse.
Yeah. And
so they're just kind of just taking it. It's like, whatever, it doesn't hurt that bad. But yeah, I know some of those can definitely escalate, and kind of more importantly, like that's coming from a very, very deep place of trauma or something that happened to her, because that I think to escalate things to violence is very like atypical for women. That kind of goes against most of their natures. So if something happened where she's leaning into abuse herself, like that is indicative of like some really deep seated problems. So
I don't know, dude.
Run the fuck away.
I don't know, dude. I might kind of like it. Like if she just
Yeah, until she gets real mad and kills you in her sleep.
Like chokes me a little bit, or like she grabs my dick. Like one day, like she's mad, she just grabs my dick. I'm like, I don't know whether to get hard or cry.
Yeah, and then you have an argument, and she's like, "I'm just gonna slit his throat in his bed while he's on his CPAP." You're just there, you're just going, and then there's just blood coming out.
All right. Well, that was it for Deal Breakers. Moving on.
If it was a Florida man, it would be Armando Ramirez found dead with his throat slit while on his CPAP.
Nice.
He was still breathing.
Moving on to another segment we've done in the past with Degenerates history. Aaron sent me a link with a bunch of degenerate stuff.
Yeah, just pull up the Word doc.
Oh, okay. Well, I didn't think I was going to do that. I have the web page up here. 12 historically.
Yeah, don't do all of them. Just do the one that I sent you.
Okay. All right. Well, let me do that. I didn't pull that up.
Yeah, it would take forever to go through all of them.
Word doc. Where did it go? Here we go. The title of the Degenerates history link you sent me is, where did it go? Is 12 historically important perverts and how they changed the world. First pervert we're talking about is...
No, don't do all of them. Can you not open the Word doc? If you can't open it, then just go down to Hans Christian Andersen.
That's the only one that pops up in the Word doc.
Oh, okay, so you do the... Sorry, I thought you were reading the headline. I didn't think I put the headline on that. Continue.
Is that right? You only had the one? Okay. Hans Christian Andersen.
I was confused because you were talking about 12 of them. There's just the one. Proceed. We got it. We did it. We figured it out, Degenerates. Continue.
Was a Danish author who penned plays, poems, novels, travel books, and autobiographies. His specialty, however, was literary fairy tales, and his works in that genre, which include The Little Mermaid, The Ugly Duckling, are among the most widely translated writings in the world and have been staple of childhood for generations of children around the world.
He also did The Emperor's New Clothes.
Did he?
Uh-huh. Yeah, dude was prolific.
Nice. Andersen's own childhood was an unhappy one. Born to impoverished parents, he grew up in the squalor, and as a child, his mother sent him to work in a local mill to help make ends meet. The childhood destitution was compounded by homeliness that made the young Andersen an object of teasing, mockery, bullying by his peers. The Ugly Duckling was actually based on his own miserable childhood.
That's rough, man. Like, just not only being like a little kid that has to go work in a fucking mill.
Yeah.
Like that. I mean, that's like hardcore work. Working in a lumber mill is just very, very rough, like manly labor. And not only is he a little kid working there, he's just butt-ass ugly.
Yeah. He overcame the sad childhood and dire poverty and harnessed those experiences into stories that impacted many. However, when he was not busy writing stories that would go on to feature prominently in the childhood of billions around the planet, Andersen liked to masturbate compulsively. And when not doing that, he liked to talk with prostitutes and then rush back home to masturbate. Awesome.
But like, what I remember reading that. I'm like, what do those conversations entail? Like, what is he talking with them about?
Hey, how's the weather?
Yeah, like, is it just like really banal, or he's like telling them about his stories that he's writing? It's like, oh, I'm writing a story about this duckling. They're like, what? Like,
a celibate, which perhaps sheds some light on things. Andersen not only liked to masturbate a lot, he liked to keep meticulous records of his masturbation sessions, describing and listing them in his diary with a pair of plus signs. With sample descriptive entries reading, "When they left, I had a doubly sensuous double plus." In Paris,
wait, hold on. If please pick a relatively tame one. But if you kept such a diary, what would one entry of those look like?
Of me jerking off?
Yeah. So just like how would that go? Please do not go into graphic detail. Just like the first few lines of the entry. How would that go?
So when I jerk it, I'm obviously watching porn on my fucking phone.
Mm-hmm.
So I would probably rate it based on like the level of hotness of the scene or the chick in the video. Does that make sense? So like if she's and when I mean by attractiveness, hotness, it's like different. It's like some people are into weird porn and maybe like, anyway.
Got it. So you're doing like the Rotten Tomatoes of porn.
Yeah. Yeah, sure.
Interesting.
I actually have, I'm not embarrassed to say this. I actually have, how on your phones you have like the little notepad feature? I have a little notepad feature of like porn stars that I like to watch videos of. So like, in case I forget their names, I'm like, what was the name of that one fucking porn bitch? Oh, that was her name. But I don't give them ratings. I just, write their names down.
Got it. I feel like mine would be like a little bit more like almost autobiographical. It's like, yeah, like I went for a hike today and then I came back and the U.S. Women's World Cup was on and I watched 10 minutes and then plus.
Gotcha. Makes sense. Yeah. I always like discovering like new porn stars and then like, yeah.
I'm not gonna. So, in this scenario, I've never, I don't think jerked off after watching women's soccer. But it would be more like if that was happening, I would not jerk off to women's soccer.
Uh-huh.
I would be like, oh, there's actually that one women's soccer player that's really attractive. Let me go on the hub and see if I can find someone that looks a little bit like her.
Oh, you'll go on Pornhub looking to see if there's someone that looks like her?
That's probably how that would play out.
Nice.
And I'm like, all right, imagination, you do the rest.
Yeah.
I don't need deep fakes or any of that technology. I can just mentally insert the soccer player's face if I need to.
We're going to go back to the article in a second. There's only a little bit more to go. What is the weirdest like the question in Step Brothers, what is the weirdest non-pornographic thing you've ever masturbated to? It doesn't have to be a magazine. It could be a TV show. It could be a YouTube video you saw. Non-pornographic thing you've jerked it to.
Weirdest?
Sure.
I don't know.
Or
weirdest.
Something that you can remember.
I mean, there's definitely like movies. There was one, I know there was one. I can't remember the name of the movie. It was really like a bad teen movie where Jessica Biel was just like getting out of a swimming pool.
Ooh.
And that I remember that reminded me of a movie called Fast Times in Ridgemont High, where like one of the characters is like envisioning this girl getting out of a pool and he's jerking. I'm like, okay, all right, challenge accepted, Jessica Biel movie. Let's do this.
Yeah.
I don't think that was weird though. I mean, that was Jessica Biel was
hot.
Yeah, she was there to be eye candy. So I was like, all right.
I don't know why this particular memory popped in my head, but I remember like jerking it long ago watching Sabrina the Teenage Witch. I was like fucking 12 years old and like I thought that chick was kind of hot and I was like, "Ooh, I'm in my back." Yeah. I'm sure I've jerked off to more weird shit, but that one just popped up when I don't know why that one.
Was it to Sabrina or was it to the cat?
No. It was her. It was her.
But something about talking cats just gets Mondo going.
Yeah. Back to the article, last little blurb I'll read there. He meaning Hans Christian Andersen also had a maudlin and needy streak and kept falling in love with people, both men and women, who did not reciprocate his feelings. He had a bit of a habit writing cloyingly mawkish love letters to the objects of his affection and frequently penned long tracts gushing about his feelings to women whom he knew were uninterested and would turn him down in a way he throve on rejection. Then he would rush back home and earn more plus entries for his diary. Oh, wow.
Oh, my God. This poor guy.
Yeah.
He was like all fucked up.
Yeah.
He just liked the abuse.
Some guys are actually into that kind of rejection thing. Like, and I think that, he falls into that category of guys that like to be rejected, dejected, and it kind of gets him off. Hey, I guess that's his own druthers.
But yeah, he was celibate through the whole thing.
Yeah.
He was intentionally going after people who would not reciprocate.
First recorded incel?
Maybe. I don't know. It's crazy though, because he was super successful. He's written some of the most iconic stories in like the history of humankind.
I wonder if back then women were into like that whole power money thing as women are now. Like,
yes.
Do you think when they?
Yes.
Do you think when he made it into his literary career, like was renowned, that all of a sudden pussy was getting thrown at him left and right?
He could have, yes, easily.
Huh.
There's never been a time where women were like, oh, like financial security and like a nice lifestyle. No, that's terrible. It's a turnoff. Like,
yeah,
which is also understandable. Particularly, back then things were not always that great for women. So, no, he could have easily landed a wife or probably a husband for that matter.
Yeah, it sounds like he was attracted to dudes too.
But instead, he was just he's just like writing these gushing love letters of probably really well written too. You got to imagine, right?
All right.
And he's just getting shut down left and right. Poor guy.
That was it for Degenerate history. We are now moving on to Reddit. Reddit question number 1. Aaron, what's not a drug but is so addictive that it could be classified as one?
Maybe not classified as one, but I was thinking, like, what are the things that I've been really addicted to?
Mm-hmm.
And there was a while where I felt like I was definitely addicted to World of Warcraft.
Ooh, yeah.
And the problem with that game in particular is, like, one, you were never done. Like, there was always more shit, more content, and more patches. And the other part was it had this, like, team dynamic, right? Like, you're trying to go into these dungeons, or they call them raids, I guess. And it was like almost like you had to do this, like, really elaborate dance with your team where it's super well choreographed, and it's like the monster's going to spit fire here, so we have to move there and there and there. And the tricky part, though, was the better gear you had, the better stats, the higher level, like the more you could help your team.
Mm-hmm. So
there was always this urge of, like, oh, if I could just get a little bit better, like, we could clear this. Like, I don't want to be the one to let everyone down.
Yeah.
And there, like I said, there's always just more shit to go do, more places to go, you had to get more gold, you had to get more this. And there was never a point where you're like, oh, we beat it. We won World of Warcraft.
Yeah.
So, like, I remember there was a time where I'm like, dude, I don't want to do anything but just play this game. Like,
yeah.
I don't want to go do work. I just want to go play this game for like 18 hours a day. And there was a point where I realized that, where I can't remember what it was. It was like, there was something I should have been doing instead of that. And I played World of Warcraft instead. And afterwards I'm like, oh, nope, I'm just done. Like, cold turkey, like, just deleted the game, never played it again.
Yeah.
So just if Christian Barron
I was gonna say
listens to this, I did it to myself too, because I recognized that the behavior. I'm like, oh, this is not good.
Yeah. It's very hard to get into an RPG like that, especially now. Like, dude, Elden Ring, the game I'm playing, you're like, in my mind, before I start playing, I tell myself, okay, I got this, and this stuff to do today, like outside of the video game world. I gotta go get coffee. I gotta go do that. So you make yourself a list, and I tell myself, I got to get this list of shit done before I can play the game, because then before you know it, I play the game and 4 hours have flown by. I'm like, fuck, I didn't mean to do. You get lost in time. It's fucked up. But some video games can really suck you in like that.
Well, and they're designed like that, right?
Oh, yeah,
like they have figured out, like, ooh, this little sound effect is going to be especially good at, hitting those little serotonin receptors, and you get that pleasure signal. You're like, oh, I want more and more. They design them intentionally to light up all those parts of your brain in a way that's pleasing, and you want more.
And going on a little similar, like, a lot of the mobile games are like, or even some of the console and PC games are free to play, but then they have that, like, pay to play thing where you can download this, that, and the other for an extra $5. So you get sucked into playing the game. You're like, well, I want to get this cool shield or cool whatever, and you're like, fuck it, it's just $5. $1,000 later, you're like, oh shit, what have I done? You know what I mean? But yeah, they can be for sure addictive. My answer to the question is I had a lot of things to answer with that question, but the one for me is coffee.
Caffeine is a drug.
Is marijuana a drug? We're gonna differ on that.
Okay.
You and I are gonna have different opinions about that. But anyway, it can be addictive. Coffee. I mean, it started off innocently, like I needed the caffeine to wake up. I'm going back 10 years. I needed coffee to wake up to start my day at work. And then it became, oh, I need 2 cups. I need 3 cups. And it got to the point where when I just cut myself completely, you get fucking headaches from not having that coffee fix. Like, you get some pretty bad headaches from, like, weaning. You have to learn to wean yourself off coffee. So now, like, I have coffee sparingly. Or, like, if I know I got to take a good...
So you're saying you have withdrawal symptoms?
Oh, yeah.
I wonder why you would have withdrawal symptoms from taking a substance.
You and I we come from different opinions on this. We're not gonna agree on this.
Okay.
We can go with that and weed and a bunch of other things that we're not gonna agree.
But it's also just like it's like you being like, dude, a deer's not a mammal. We're just not going to agree on this.
Okay,
but like that like it is classified as a drug. I can't. I mean,
You and I are gonna have differing.
do you
opinions.
think cocaine is a drug?
I've never tried it. I wouldn't know.
Okay, so we're not okay. So we're not sure if cocaine or opium are drugs.
Okay, are cigarettes a drug?
But that's not what I asked. I asked was
No, now I'm asking you.
like yeah, nicotine's a drug,
I quit cold turkey like that.
right? But that's not the question. Isn't if it's addictive. It's I mean Tylenol's a drug. It's not very hard to
But you're talking about withdrawal symptoms.
right.
Didn't have any withdrawal symptoms from smoking cigarettes. Some people do. Some people like I need to have. They get their hands shaky.
Yeah, no, I didn't say the yes or no of whether something is a drug is withdrawal symptoms. That is definitely a good indication that
Okay.
something's a drug, though.
I think we should move on because we're not going to agree.
Okay.
We're not.
I just so this is now
I
in
know what
Degenerates Clubhouse canon. We're not sure. It is up for debate whether cocaine and opium are drugs. Continue.
Anyway, some of the answers on Reddit. User Apo0 writes, phones, sad face. I really hate taking a dump without it. That is true. I remember, our old poker nights back when we used to play at my house on Thursday nights. Back then, I didn't have I think I had a cell phone, but very few of us had cell phones. Like cell phones were like a new thing for you young kids. And I remember the one of our group did have a cell phone. That was Scott Sauter. And back then I noticed like he had like this twitch to always check his, like after every hand or sometimes in between a hand, he like go to his cell phone and then check it for any notifications or email or whatever. And it was a ball and chain. I could see it. I noticed it way back when. And now that all of us have cell phones, I notice myself doing it all the time. I'm like, fuck, I really need to put this fucking phone down. Like it's part of our body nowadays for most of us. It's really fucked up. Let's see what other answers on Reddit. User Crumbled the Cookies writes, chips and salsa, edit, holy fucking shit, this blew up. Just got off work and saw this shit. Thanks for the awards, blah, 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 blah. Chips and salsa, do you think those are addictive or a drug?
I don't know. Like, I know when you're eating them, like there's been times where if I was just sitting there at like a, football game or something on the couch watching them, like, oh, I can't stop eating them.
Yeah.
I've never had a time like afterwards where I'm like, oh, I'm craving chips and salsa. I'm having, so I don't know. That's one where I think for certain people, particularly who have like addictive personalities around food, I could see that being addictive as a drug, but that's just not one that I have as much. Despite how much I used to eat, I was never like, oh, I have to have this sort of food.
But it is kind of like okay, you go to a Mexican restaurant. Can you honestly say you could have one chip and salsa and then be like done? Like you're like while it's still in front of you, you're kind of like, okay, I'll have another or whatever while you wait for your food. It's kind of
well, yeah, that's what I was just saying. Like there's definitely times at a football game where like, oh, I should stop eating this thing, and I keep going.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, if I really want it, like even last night I was eating
those chip things you were eating.
Yeah, and then I realized like, oh, it's late, and then I just put the bag down. But all those food products, particularly like the chips and cookies and all that, just the same way we were talking about with mobile games and video games, like they're designed to light up those little pleasure centers in your brain. Like they're like, ooh, how can we tweak this flavor? How can we add this little extra pinch of whatever to make them enticing so you want more? So like, yeah, I mean, they're not having that same like physiological effect that like a drug would, but it's very close.
Yeah, for sure. Last answer I'll read for that question. User Gengar is Life writes, attention. Is attention a drug?
Yeah, for some people. Remember our duck face girl?
Yeah,
from Dealbreakers?
For sure. So some people are like addicted to getting attention. It don't matter who it's from. They just want attention. It could be from a bad source or a good
exactly. Well, and that's why when you were talking about the girl posting all the selfies, like some people like that, it's like if they can't get like good attention, they're gonna find other ways to get it, and they'll end up getting bad attention.
Yeah.
And I'm like, if that's where she's drawn the line, where she's a little addicted to attention, but she's found this outlet where I'm like, you know what, cool.
I think that's very heavy or prominent in porn stars, male or female. I think like the some women have daddy issues or like fucked up men issues, and like get into porn, and it's like, oh, I need this attention. Oh, people give me, like I could show off my boobies, my tit, my vagina, blah 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 blah. Same with dudes. They want to show off their big hogs if they got them. Look at me, I got a big wiener, and I'm fucking this chick, and I get all the attention.
Could be.
Yeah.
I mean, that's one where it seems like there's probably other things at play as well.
Yeah.
Because I think like actors, actresses, like comedians, like they're all addicted to attention, and it might really just be that they have more talent, or maybe they're a little bit more conventionally physically attractive or whatever, and so they can get attention in a more socially accepted way. But like, I feel like there's other ways to get attention where the porn stars probably can combine like attention with some attention-seeking behavior with some sort of not weird, but with like sexual impulses. Yeah. Where like, there's a huge history of abusive childhoods in the porn industry, things like that. Yeah. Where like that gets coupled with wanting attention, and then next thing you know, you've got backdoor sluts 9.
You're getting gangbanged by 10 dudes, like Tom Segura's joke. I won't go into it. Anyway, that was it for Reddit question number 2 or 1. That was it for Reddit question number 1. Reddit question number 2 is, Aaron, what's on your NSFW bucket list? And for those who don't know what that means, NSFW means not safe for work. So what is on your not safe for work bucket list?
This is one I doubt I will ever cross off, but I think it would be fun to have sex with like a minor celebrity. And I remember thinking back, one of our fraternity brothers in college had, if I remember, like he had sex with a member of the cast from Full House.
Oh yeah, let's not drop the name of the member of the cast or our brother that.
Yep, that's why I phrased it just like that. I'm gonna put it out there. It was not Bob Saget. Okay, he didn't. It wasn't Bob Saget. Although, you know what, Bob was a fun guy. He might have been up for it. Who knows? But I remember hearing that. I'm like, huh.
Yeah.
Like the idea of having sex with a celebrity just because they were a celebrity never seemed like that interesting to me up until that point. And I was like, you know what? That's not something I'd go out of my way for. That would be cool though. Yeah. That would be cool. Especially, I bet when she wasn't playing that character, she was actually probably like pretty attractive.
Yeah. I hung out with her once when I was a freshman in college. When the other female society kidnaps us and feeds us food. Do you remember that group?
Maybe.
So there's another female society that kidnaps us, and then they feed us food. It's like, yay, homely girls, and they like to make us. I think it was spaghetti or something.
But yeah, I don't know how I even negotiate that at this point. I think when I was younger, like if that had been my goal when I was in college, I think I could have pulled that off.
Yeah.
Now, that might be a bridge too far.
Who knows? My not safe for work bucket list item is I said this to one of my coworkers today. I really want to have sex. I want to have intercourse with a little person. With
a child?
No, fuck
okay.
you.
What? I don't know.
No. I'm trying to be politically correct. It's not. You can't say. What is it? It's not dwarf. It's a little person, right? That's the term.
Well, there's
midget.
There's dwarf. So that's different things. Are you talking about a midget or a dwarf?
A midget, not a dwarf. What's the difference? Is there a difference?
Yeah.
What's the difference?
Dwarfism is like a particular sort of stunted. Like, I think midgets have more, like their proportions and everything are similar. Whereas dwarfs, like they're it's like a special, like dwarfism. It's usually like the kind of stump your legs and everything like that. They're not as uniformly proportioned as like a normal person.
Okay.
I don't think I did explain that really well.
Yeah. But if I follow your definition, then no, I want to have sex with a dwarf. So, don't judge me. I see you. I see you, fucking asshole.
Oh no, I'm just looking up like if I explained that correctly.
Yeah, but it's just the thing. Yeah, I want to try. I want to see what happens. I want to feel like I'm King Kong. Chances are I probably still wouldn't be, very, very big. But it's a thing,
Oh, no. Okay, so I don't think I had that correct at all.
Oh,
It says a dwarf is an extremely short adult who's less than 58 inches tall. The word midget is considered derogatory and offensive. Sorry, dwarves.
so they're the same thing.
I didn't mean it. So there are different. I know. Like dwarfism is very specific. Like where there are people who have normal proportions, they're just very short.
Uh-huh.
Like I think like someone under like 4'11" or 4'10" is considered. And I feel like I'm not trying to use derogatory terminology. There's a difference between people who have dwarfism and people who are like a little person who just have like normal proportions.
Oh no, I want to have sex with a dwarf.
Got it.
Let's be clear.
Okay.
Some of the answers on Reddit to that question. User Linnea Skylar writes, operating a forklift. I'm not certified. That's dumb. You're a freaking idiot.
That's not. Why is that not safe for work?
Because I'm not certified, I guess.
Oh.
Ooh, bad girl.
Oh, I get it. It's not safe. OSHA's going to get on her. The big bad OSHA officer is going to come and give me a talking to.
Stupid answer. User, my name is not Pedro. I like your username. Writes, telling a rude customer, fuck me yourself, you coward? Oh, I guess if they say fuck you, then you can your response is fuck me yourself, you coward.
Okay.
All right. User Lus writes, have sex in the woods. That's not that. Is that risky? I guess if you're doing it like in the middle of the woods somewhere where someone can walk in on you doing it, then it is kind of risky, but just kind of going out in the wilderness and boning is not that crazy. It's fun. I mean, I'd do it.
Oh, wait, hold on. I'm sorry. I'm still going back. I'm still on the fucking midget dwarf thing, guys.
All right.
I'm still on it. This one says, this Pedia.com, which clearly a more reputable source than the last one it says, who is a dwarf? A dwarf is a short individual less than 58 inches who has abnormal or disproportionate body parts. Around 200 different genetic disorders may cause dwarf individuals. Dwarfs have short arms and hands, but normal-sized head due to disproportionality. A midget is a short individual with well-proportioned body parts. Sometimes malnutrition may cause midget conditions. Midgets individually grow normally, but do not exceed 58 inches. Okay, that's what I was saying.
Yeah, more or less. Yeah, you're pretty on point.
Fuck you, other source for making me feel like I was bigoted.
User, the last one I'll read for that question is user, I can't spell your, Zuriel Sheer something, writes, sex under the northern lights.
Well, that would be dope.
That would be kind of cool,
All
actually.
Right, I've added that.
Like having sex anywhere unique like that would be kind of fucking cool. When I was a kid, when I was like in junior high, maybe it was high school, I was watching some Travel Channel show or some other bullshit where it's like, I think it's the southernmost tip of South America, and I remember distinctly the name of this town because it was like such a weird name. Name of the town is Ushuaia, Ushuaia. Anyway, southernmost tip of of South America, and it's like in the cold regions, like the Azures, whatever. There's snow, but underneath the snow, if you find the right cavern, there's like hot springs and shit like underneath. So it's kind of like that dynamic.
You want to go Jon Snow wildling style?
But so where they're fucking in the hot springs, I want to do that. I would do that. That'd be kind of cool.
Well, I told you there's a hot springs in Colorado. You just have to hike like 9 miles to get to it. Yeah, nobody does it in the winter, but it's like a nice 120-degree hot spring at the end.
If there was a chick down enough to go out, say, hey, Aaron, I want to go to this hot spring and I want to bone in there, would you go with her?
Fuck yeah.
Yeah, me too.
I had to think. I'm like, because we have to bring like tents or something. That's just a long hike, but you know what? That'd be worth it.
Yeah, for sure.
You know what? If I die in that hike, at least I died for something I cared about and loved. You know what? When they say if you die, you gotta die doing what you love.
Yeah,
that's an expression that people totally say. Shut up.
So that was it for Ask Reddit. We're gonna try to wrap up this episode with returning back to the States, leaving Russia Man. We're now going to Florida with Florida Man. The headline is, while Aaron goes and makes a pee-pee, Florida man breaks beer bottle over his head, gets shot by deputy who thought sound was a gunshot. So if I read that correctly, guy grabs a beer bottle, breaks it, cop thinks that sound is a gunshot, and so the the deputy shoots the guy, thinking that was a gunshot coming from. Okay, that makes sense. Deputies had been pursuing the man who was wanted in connection with an armed robbery when he stood up through a sunroof and broke a bottle of Busch Light over his head. Yeah, well, not that it would have been any different if he had like classed it up with like a nice bottle of something better, but it's just funny that it's like Busch Light of all things. Anyway, a Florida man broke a beer bottle over his head, prompting a deputy who thought the popping sound was a gunshot to shoot him, the Polk County Sheriff's Office reported Saturday. Polk County Sheriff Grady Judd said deputies were trying to arrest Matthew Correa, 27, when it happened, as he was a suspect in a series of crimes, including an armed robbery. Correa was in the pickup when he stood up through the sunroof with a rifle in one hand and a bottle of Busch Light in the other. He then broke the bottle over his head. So I can see how there was confusion, because if you're holding a gun and something, you break the bottle over your head. Yeah, I could see how the deputy like might have mistaken that for a gunshot if he's holding a gun.
Well, it also says like he was intentionally trying to bait them into shooting him.
Yeah, so it's one of the like suicide by cop attempts, I think, you know?
Mm-hmm.
The sergeant who was behind Correa and unable to see the bottle heard the popping noise and believed Correa had shot at his deputies. The sheriff's office said in a news release, the sergeant fired one shot at Correa, striking him in the neck. Ooh. Correa was taken to a hospital with injuries that were not believed to be life-threatening. No deputies were injured, and the agency reported. The bizarre chain of events began around 8 o'clock a.m. Saturday when Correa and a female companion went to a supermarket in Winter Haven in a white Chevy Tahoe. There, Correa stole a red Toyota pickup. So that's where it begins, bad boy. The Tahoe was later found abandoned on State Road, blah, 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 blah. Correa and his companion went into a tire store near Winter Haven and asked an employee for money. When the employee said...
Perfect robbery target. Tire stores.
Yeah.
You know, it's probably end of the week. Their safes are just going to be packed with cash and jewels.
Yeah.
So you got to rob the tire stores at the end of the week. It makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
I'm on board with this heist thus far.
When the employee said no money was there, Correa pulled a rifle out of a duffel bag, pointed the weapon at the employee, and started looking for money. Correa and his companion left when the customer arrived.
What the fuck did they go to a tire store?
Yeah.
They've got this like elaborate like bank heist thing, and they're like, you know what? Should we rob like First National Bank, or should we rob Pep Boys?
Jesus.
Did they at least like get some windshield wipers or something? Those things are expensive.
It didn't, and no mention of windshield wipers. Anyway, so they leave the scene of the crime. Continuing on with the story. While in the truck, Correa pointed the rifle under his chin and told deputies to kill him.
Oh, see, yeah.
Crazy motherfucker. Deputies tried to de-escalate the situation, but Correa then stood up through the sunroof and held the gun in a threatening manner. And then he dropped from the sunroof out of sight for a moment, then stood up with a rifle in one hand and a Busch Light beer bottle in the other hand, which he smashed against his forehead, breaking the bottle. Oh. That's when the sergeant, thinking the popping sound was a gunshot, fired at Correa. And that's about the end of the article. Deputies are still trying to learn who the female companion was and ask anyone with information to call this number, blah, 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 blah.
It was that girl from the bar in our Dealbreakers.
Probably.
she talked this fucker into the whole thing.
Correa, who faces multiple charges, has a criminal record that includes a charge of home invasion burglary, and he has spent 5 years in prison. So he's a repeat criminal. He obviously wanted suicide by cop and was like, you think that was intentional? Like, do you think like, because it's had to be, right? Like breaking that bottle. He's like, he probably thinks like he's trying to lure them into shooting him.
I don't think he necessarily thought it through of like, oh, they're going to hear the sound and they're going to, I think he was obviously wanted them to shoot him. And he's like, well, I tried to get them to shoot me by pointing the gun at myself. That didn't happen. Let me just be like wild and it's going to freak him out. Like that was probably.
I like you. So you don't see what's in the video, but right now you went wild and your hand was like it. You did this. So yeah.
It's a shotgun barrel.
Yeah.
You gotta really like work that shotgun.
Yeah.
You gotta pump it. Sometimes you can double pump a shotgun, but sometimes you gotta give it a couple extra pumps if you really want to get it to go off.
See, this is the stuff that people that aren't watching the video are missing out because they'll get some of this.
Yeah,
like,
you just what? I don't understand. What are you talking about? It's just you just want to make sure that shotgun is really primed and ready to explode when it's time to fire your shot.
that was it for
Oh,
Florida
but
Man.
Mondo, one thing, you got to be really careful because if you do pump the shotgun too many times, sometimes it'll go off when you don't want it to.
You go blind.
Yeah. It's the best case scenario, yeah.
That was it for Florida Man.
You really, unless you're Joe Rogan, usually it doesn't go off right in your face. But
Has Joe Rogan said that he nuts in his face?
you know what? I'm assuming he did.
Oh no.
That I don't know why, but that just seems like a Joe Rogan thing to do. He's like, what? Like, I'm not gonna suck my own dick if I don't nut my own face. What are you, a fucking pussy?
Anyway, so that was it for Florida Man. That was it for the episode. Aaron, do you have anything else to add?
No, I don't think so.
Hey guys, thank you guys for watching us live on YouTube and Twitch and all that good stuff. By the way, we can chat with you guys if you join the videos live, and I could say hi, and you could say hi back to us, and ask us questions while the video is streaming and all that good stuff. Anyway, thank you guys for joining us. Hope you guys enjoyed the episode. We appreciate every one of you assholes that listen to us and make fun of us.
Especially the Canadians. I value you more, in fact. I don't know why, but something about knowing that there's at least one Canadian listener out there just warms my heart.
Shout out and thank you to Zach Steckline for replying to our inquiry last episode about rebranding the new on Netflix. He gave us some suggestions. We might actually use one of those.
I liked the Binge and Purge.
Yeah,
that
Binge
was a
and
good
Purge
one.
was a good one. I like that one. That one was. Anyway. Thank you guys. We appreciate you guys. We love you guys. We will talk to you guys in a week. Have a safe